The place point anywhere feature is kind of a feature to allow you to really customize or place a point in a spot that is being a little bit tricky using traditional point creation methods. What I mean by that is most of your points should be coming from the CAD department if it's a coordinated project, or like a BIM coordinated project. But sometimes the geometry that you want to place a point on that comes out of the CAD model, you can't do it using traditional methods. And what I mean by traditional methods, well, either the CAD department does it for you, or you can do it here by creating points on the model, or a grid, or a pattern, or whatnot. But if I go to Point Manager, I have the ability to just essentially pick a spot. So maybe I was trying to place a point, I don't know, on the piece of this duct fin for whatever reason, and it just won't let me do it. It doesn't recognize this geometry. I can't do an endpoint or anything like that. That's okay. If you zoom in far enough and you select Place Point Anywhere, this button here, you can come into the input form and you can give it a name, a description, a layer. You can also populate the elevation. What you cannot do, however, is specify an X and a Y. It is grayed out, and you definitely cannot specify a control point. And there's a very good reason for that. We're basically just placing a point in thin air. My elevation, however, I don't want it to be 10 feet. I'm going to have it be 0. I'll come back out here, and now I can simply get as close to the center of this thing as I can, and I'll place a point. Now if I zoom in even farther, you can see I missed a little bit. That's okay because we're probably talking about a very minute fraction of an inch. But this is exactly why we don't give you the ability to create and make it a control point, because it is always going to be just a little bit off. Okay, so if I'm happy with that point, I say, yeah, that's close enough for what I'm trying to do. I can go ahead and hit create. The point has been created, and once I've created that point, I actually can come into the input form, excuse me, the information button, and click on that point, and at that point then it will show me what exactly X and Y coordinate I did pick. So like I say, it can kind of get you out of a bind if you keep trying to place a point in a certain spot using some of these other tools and it doesn't work. You can use this one and it just kind of simply places it anywhere you want. Maybe you want to put a point in the center of a wall. Here's a wall, for example, and I know that, you know what, I've got a piece of pipe or conduit or something that has to come up in the center of this wall. I can simply just go and say, here it is, right there. That's close enough for what I need to do. I can hit create, and now I've got another point. So pretty quickly you can come in here and create just a few random points. Use restraint, because again, you're not picking exactly X and Y coordinates. You're just basically getting it close. But if you zoom in far enough, you're going to be pretty darn accurate.